Well, hello, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo. And as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, man, this literally does not work. How's everybody doing? I hope that you guys are doing great. It is Friday night, and we are literally 194 days, 23 hours, 5 minutes, and 30 seconds away from kickoff of the 2019 NFL season. Sorry, I went back in time there. Michael coming into the picture there kind of threw me for a loop. I want to go to our little clip while we get everybody in here for our show, where we're talking about DeMarcus Lawrence as well as Earl Thomas.
Playoff game last season, and now they have some big decisions in free agency coming up. Defensive end DeMarcus Lawrence had 25 sacks the last 2 years, and Jerry Jones said yesterday that he is, quote, certainly a significant part of now and the future. The Cowboys have also been rumored for a while to land safety Earl Thomas, and Jerry said there have been internal discussions about adding a safety in free agency. Michael Rappaport still with us, but first, Skip.
My turn.
Talking about your Cowboys.
Yeah.
How close are they to being a Super Bowl team?
My Cowboys can make it to next year's Super Bowl without adding a single piece, because I'm going to remind everybody, my Cowboys made this year's playoffs by winning the NFC East with the youngest playoff team in this year's playoffs. All my Cowboys need to do is grow up a little bit, mature, continue to do what they do at a higher and higher level. My team added Amari Cooper mid-season. He's going to get, dare I say, a whole offseason to work with Dak Prescott. Can you imagine how much better they're going to be with 4 preseason games going into a regular season game? Can you imagine how much better my offensive line will be with their Pro Bowl center back and Travis Frederick, who missed the whole season with his condition? Yeah. Wow, and he's already working out now with the team. Can you imagine how much better my 2 young linebackers? I get the 2 best young linebackers in football. Do you realize how much better they will get by the snap next year? I don't know what's not to like. I wish I had a better tight end, but the 3 of them, Jeff Swain, Blake Jarwin, and Dalton Schultz, were pretty good this year, and all 3 had little contributions that added up to a pretty big contribution. So, again, would I like to see them go get Earl Thomas? Sure I would. He's going to be too expensive for them. I thought the defense was good enough to win this year. It beat Seattle. I don't know what happened at L.A. But
they got run on.
Well, guess what?
Run on.
We had C.J. Anderson on the show, when was it, yesterday? Yep. And C.J. told me as he was walking away during the break that he has been in some discussions with the Dallas Cowboys. How about a 1-2 punch? He was a pretty good 1-2 punch with Gurley, wasn't he? How about Zeke getting the lion's share? But how about C.J. bashing it up the middle every once in a while to take a little pressure off Zeke? I love it.
You mean the way he bashed it up the middle?
No, on my defense.
On your defense that he talked about right here. I'll let you take the floor. I mean, you got to score points in this league.
Well, any problem in looking at why should anybody, other teams show up and play? I mean, the Cowboys are great. Obviously, you must have changed your quarterback. And number 2, maybe the NFC East is still going to be bad. Is that what we're talking about? They're going to be beat up and injured. Is that the NFC East?
I think my team rendered it bad by beating all of them.
So I'm not buying at the Cowboys because Skip, the thing that you keep ignoring is that the last 2 years against teams over 500, they were 5-9. The Cowboys beat up on a lot of bad teams. When it comes time to win those big games, they don't win.
Oh,
That's
really?
why they didn't beat the Rams.
They win the division.
I just told you.
They beat Philly twice.
Wait a second. And what happened to the Redskins? The Redskins fading.
Yeah.
Mark Sanchez started the quarterback when they were still in. Mark Sanchez, who I literally thought was a coach. I thought he was done with it. He started a football game when they were going.
Who were the defending Super Bowl champs last year? The Eagles.
Yeah, but they had a bad year. There were injuries. They were all out of sorts.
They actually,
don't you remember?
They actually added a bunch of pieces. They added Michael Bennett to their Super Bowl team. They were loaded. They got their quarterback back, Carson Wentz, and my quarterback beat him twice. How do you explain that? Those are big games against a good team.
Skip, I get that they won a division. If you want to have a parade, I'll give you a parade.
You want a parade for that?
No,
Let's give him a parade.
I might
Yeah,
want
he wants
one
a
next
parade.
year
No,
about
Let's
this
give him a
time.
parade. Let's get you won the division. We'll do a parade.
I am really threatened next year by the New York Football Giants. Michael Rappaport.
But you
I'm
don't
scared.
you don't even know
I'm
what else they're
scared.
going to have. They got a running
Take a
back.
shot at me. You see, he's taking a shot at me.
That's all.
Eli
I'm just
Manning?
sitting here like
Really?
I'm just like.
I
Eli
thought,
won't be back.
Wait, I
But you
thought
know what,
Eli retired 2 years ago. But he's still playing.
I'll say this about Dak. Eli Manning and Dak, totally different kind of football players, but you're going to have to get used to it. We won with Eli, and 1 week it was up here, the next week was like this. One pass, it was, you're great, that's the same thing with Dak. He's never going to be that guy where you're like, he's consistent. He's been consistently okay.
I would take Eli Manning every situation, every circumstance. Here's the guy who won 2 Super Bowls,
Oh,
beat
my
the
God.
Patriots twice, including the 18-0. He beat
18-0.
Tom Brady. How can
Okay, that's enough of that. Hello, everybody. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo. And as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, man, this literally does not work. I see we're already open for business here. Wow. You know it's the offseason when these guys... Rob Parker, what is his whole claim to fame? What does this idiot or bag of wind actually know? That's what I really want to know. Because his whole thing is, well, Cowboys suck and everything else. And, they didn't beat anybody. Well, they beat the Eagles twice, who were the defending Super Bowl champions, right? Oh, well, Dak, he can't do it. He's just, trash. No wonder so many people think Dak Prescott is so bad, because that's all you hear out there. But before we get on to our Dallas Cowboys news, I actually want to go to my junior reporter here with some news on the Super Bowl champions owner.
Kicker Jake Elliott, long snapper Rick Lovato, they get 2 compensatory picks, and then we got Robert Kraft. Now what can we say about Robert Kraft? I mean, I don't know what else to say except for, this. Robert Kraft, you stinking dope. When you're in jail, don't pick up the soap. Robert Kraft, you old hump, paying for the truffle shuffle and the old pitch pump. Robert Kraft, you know what I think? The Patriots still stink.
Yeah, that's my boy Philly 500, and he basically summed it all up about right. Welcome, everybody. How's everybody's doing tonight? We have got the silly season. You know, the amazing thing is, because, see, I'm kind of pissed off about the situation, because it seems like already the whole Robert Kraft thing, they're trying to keep this thing quiet. It came out hard and heavy to begin with. What?
30 seconds on total access tonight.
Yeah, right. Oh, is that all? 30 seconds.
They said what happened, and then they swept it under the rug.
Yeah, so here it is. Now think about this. 30 seconds, and they swept it under the rug on total access. That's all he talked about. Now here's my conspiracy theory here, because that whole thing broke while I was getting my hair cut. I don't look like, Chewbacca at the moment, okay? And so it came out real hard and heavy. Q Childs, thank you very much for the super chat. And within a couple hours, we came out with compensatory picks. Did anybody else know that was coming today? Did anybody else know that they were coming out today with the list of compensatory picks? Because it was right after that thing broke. The NFL in New York said, we got to scramble and save Robert Kraft. We got to change the narrative. Let's give him some candy. Let him eat cake. Let him eat cake. Because all of a sudden that whole thing just kind of changed and I started dying out. Can you imagine if that was the Dallas Cowboys? Seriously. If that was Jerry Jones, because here's where it's kind of unseen. Now, hold it. This is where it's even funny too. Okay. When it broke, I was on Twitter checking stuff out, and somebody had put out the list. Now here's the list. That came up, right? These are all of the men that were busted, right? Jeffrey Babin. And I was looking at the birthdays. 1954. Damn. 54. 44. Damn. 82. Okay, all right, that's not too bad. 54, 66, 56, 55. Robert Kraft, 1941. 67, 69, 55, 49, 1980, 82, 1939. And then you get down to the bottom one. And that's when it hit me when I looked at the name. 1934. Dude is 85 years old in a massage parlor. But check out the name. Daniel R. Young. Daniel R. Young. Do you really think that's his name? Come on. Daniel R. Young? He might feel like he's young at 85 years old going to a massage parlor getting a few things taken care of. The thing that kills me on this is, Robert Kraft's people came through and said, oh, no, it's not, it's not real. The allegations are false and all that. Police came out and said, we got video of 2 acts. So it will be interesting how that goes. And listening to Craig Mortensen, it kind of really got under my skin because he was talking about, you're talking about one of the most powerful owners, and not only one of the most powerful owners, one of the powerful people in the world and everything else. And don't look for the NFL to hurry up and get into an investigation in this. They'll probably just let the police sort it out, let the court systems take care of the situation. Do any of you guys out there have a problem with that? Do any of you guys think that, wait, hold up. Why didn't we let the police do that with Zeke Elliott? Oh, the police did do that and said there's not enough there to arrest him for anything. There's not enough there to charge him. There's not enough there to take it to trial. Yet the NFL decided to go whole ham and spend a year-plus investigation, come out with a 160-page report on Zeke Elliott, and then suspend him for 6 games. Robert Kraft, let's just let the police go through and do their due diligence. I thought that the owners were supposed to be above and beyond and held to a higher standard than the players. Am I wrong on that? Am I wrong? So that's all we'll have to say about that situation there. And let's get on to my Dallas Cowboys because, of course, it's all about the Cowboys. All right, so I started. Oh, turn up my mic? Okay, let me turn it up a little bit. I get scared that I don't want to turn it up too much. Is that enough? Yeah, and see, Boomer, that's the thing that gets me on that is because they're talking about human trafficking. This wasn't just we're setting up Robert Kraft. This was an investigation about from China to here where basically they're telling these girls that, you're going to get jobs in America and stuff, and they end up being indentured prostitutes. And we're talking about modern day slavery. And I guarantee you that all the men on this list are not poor men. So this must be an ongoing thing. And this is not just a one-time deal. Robert Kraft was driven there by somebody. So it's going to be interesting to see if this details come out or if it just kind of gets swept under the rug. So Earl Thomas, I see that in the comments and stuff here. But just before we get to that, let me talk about my quarterback, my teammate. And if you talk about him, it's not fair. Dak Prescott. Okay, so I started something that may be a little bit hard to keep up with. This shirt right here. I ended up creating a Facebook page called The Power of 4, the number 4. All right? And I've already signed it. Michael Anthony's already signed it. And Joe Boo's already signed it. And Sunday, what we're going to do is at Lucky Sports Bar, where I end up live streaming when the games aren't on TV, in Kingstown, Virginia, off of Manchester Lakes Boulevard. We're going to be there 4 o'clock to about 6 o'clock. E2 Blue's going to be there. Hopefully DMV Cowboys will be there and things. And we're going to have the shirt there. We're going to do a little live stream, talk about the Dallas Cowboys, their needs, what they hopefully are doing as far as free agency, signing the players and who might get cut and so on. So if you're in the Northern Virginia area, Washington, D.C. area and stuff, and you want to sign the shirt, come on by. We'll get you on air, and we'll get you pictures and stuff put on the page. Miss Jackie, send me an email because I can't find your email address. I want you to be one of the stops on the Joe Boo T-shirt tour. Deidre Walton, another great friend who lives in Lake Charles, Louisiana. Tons of Cowboy fans in there's Cowboy fan group. That's where it's going to go first, and from there I'd like to go to you, Miss Jackie, because I need you, and of course, everybody else from there, and from there going on to Sandman. So it's going to do a tour, but we've got very little time, and I know I've got a lot of people that are like, I want to sign the shirt. I want to be part of it, and I want to get everybody on it, as many as possible, but I don't know that I can get everybody. Had one gentleman who lives in England is like, I know you can't get it here, but can you sign it for me? So I'm going to get somebody else who's got better handwriting than me to sign it for them. But I think it'll be kind of cool to get all those fans together that support Dak Prescott and stuff. And my whole concept is the power of 4. Dak Prescott's mother's birthday that he's honoring by wearing the number 4 right there. You got him being the 4th draft pick, his number being 4, and this is his 4th season. Hopefully, we can help get some mojo together and just kind of give him that little extra oomph and let him know that regardless of all the crap that he gets, because he gets a lot of crap every single day. You got idiots like this guy Rob Parker basically saying, that Mark Sanchez is just as good as Dak Prescott. He'd take Eli Manning. To let him know that we are behind him and that we think he's got what it takes to do it. So we're going to be doing that, and we'll see how many we can get done before I got to get it back by March 26th. So, Miss Jackie, make sure you email me on that. All right, because I need you and Sarah. You and Sarah both got to check my email. I can't check it right now, Miss Jackie. I'm online right now. I'm online. Actually, I thought I'd already changed up the camera here, but I'm online, Miss Jackie. Forgive me. And I held up the shirt to the wrong camera. See, I'm still learning on this thing. Okay, so this is the actual shirt. Like I said, we got me on there. We got Michael Anthony Cowboy Joe Boo and Michael Anthony. But I want to literally have this shirt color changed by all of the signatures of you guys. And I think it's kind of a great way that we can all do something together that I think will be really cool. So, onward and upward. I see everybody's talking about Earl Thomas. Earl Thomas. Man. I'm going to say one thing. We better not sign Earl Thomas, because I'm going to get indignant if we sign Earl Thomas. After all of the crap that I got last year and some of the hate that I get on a regular basis, we better not get Earl Thomas. If he gets signed by the Dallas Cowboys, you're going to hear me loud as a MFer. Dak the Warrior Prescott. I like that, John House. I see Boomer Sooner. I see John House. I see Miss Jackie. I see Cold Milk, 72, Collins. I see Elaine. I see Stephanie. How you doing, Stephanie? Michael, they said when you signed the shirt that your pants were a little low, showing your underwear off there. He like, hey.
Well, you should cut out the video.
Man, he thinks I edit.
If that was the case, you cut out the video. That's what I do.
Okay. Understand, I record on here, and I take it from here and upload it direct. See, there's no cutting here. Listen, I want you guys to understand, when the videos are messed up, they're messed up because I'm not good at editing. And I ain't got time for that. I'm constantly busy. Mario, you want a shout out? Okay, no, you can't have a shout out. C Money, the Giants are not going to let us get Collins. Collins wouldn't be a bad addition. I still would rather have Earl Thomas. And here's the reason why I say Earl Thomas is because Earl Thomas fits. Basically, here's the thing. This is a conversation I had with Philly 500 because The Eagles were really one of the few teams that actually bought themselves a Super Bowl by bringing in a lot of free agents. Free agency is a great tool to add some talent to your team, but it is not a way to build a roster. You just literally can't, because it just costs way too much to do it. And basically, when you sign a free agent, it's like a 2-year window. After that, you got to get rid of them unless they're really playing, balls to the wall, because it costs you so much money. So the Eagles are at that point right now, and that's the conversation I had with Philly 500, is what are you guys going to do? Because right now you're $16 million over the cap. And just like Cowboy fans, Eagle fans are saying, get AB, get Le'Veon Bell too. They're saying grab this guy. Wait a minute. How are you going to get those guys? Le'Veon Bell's talking about wanting $50 million guaranteed for the first 2 years. AB's talking about guaranteed money. You're $16 million over the cap right now. You got to get to zero by the 13th of March. Now, granted, if you let Nick Foles go, and I don't think you're going to franchise tag him, because you're not going to get that much for a quarterback now. You got a 4th for Joe Flacco. Nick Foles, 4th, maybe 5th. But if you don't trade him, you got him on the books. And the other problem is if you franchise tag him, that money is on the books now. So that means if you want to sign anybody else, you got to get rid of a bunch of players. So a guy like Jason Peters, Nelson Aguilar, some of these guys are going to have to be cut to try and sign anybody else. So they're in cap hell. They got all kinds of problems. So in talking about that, that's where they are now. They're in cap hell because of free agency. They bought so many players. Now, understand, like Skip was saying there, the Cowboys are one of the youngest teams in the NFL. Youngest teams, but it's not just a young team that hasn't played. Understand, there was an interesting stat, and I wish I had actually saved it, but the number of snaps that our rookies played this year is somewhere around 3,200 snaps. That's plays, individual plays that they played. Van Der Esch played a lot. Connor Williams played a lot. We had a lot of rookies that played a lot of plays and snaps, which is great. The 2009 class, which was probably the worst class ever, by comparison, had 2,300 snaps in all of their careers. So we've got a young team that's experienced. But you still need that veteran, that guy that knows the little secrets, the guy who can kind of sniff some things out because he's been there enough times. A guy who can mentor the young guys, a guy who can motivate, a guy who's been underneath the pressure before and knows how to react to it, a guy who can lead them on the field, a guy who's been part of a winning organization the whole time in his career, who doesn't know what it means to lose. Landon Collins has been on a losing organization his whole career. The Giants have not been a great team. He hasn't tasted what it takes to be a champion. They had that one playoff year where literally Odell Beckham's down in Florida hanging on a boat with Justin Bieber and everything else, and they didn't show up for the game. I'd rather take that guy, Earl Thomas, who knows the system, how to run it, who's going to be a Hall of Famer that's a winner, and rent him for 2 years and get the other guys coached up to play, because you're putting him in that rotation. So it's more than just the player on the field. It's all those intangibles that are out there. I've said this before. Sean Lee, I believe, would be good if you can get him for a reduced price to come back for that exact same reason. Do I think they'll keep Jeff Heath? I think they'll keep Jeff Heath, because the problem is we have 3 safeties, really.
Yeah, they let one go.
Okay? If you let Jeff Heath go, you don't have any backup. And that's the thing that you got to understand, and that's the biggest problem, because you can look at it and say, man, we should go out all for, Antonio Brown. But if you get Antonio Brown, I'm just saying hypothetically, then that means how many other players are you not going to be able to sign? That was the reason why we let Dez Bryant go, because we looked at Dez Bryant and said, okay, Dez Bryant is a $16 million cap hit. Dez Bryant is costing us $16 million. With that $16 million, can we get a couple of guys that can do other things more than just Dez Bryant? And it's a tricky game and a tricky balance. But you look at us bringing in Cam Fleming. You looked at us bringing in, guys like Antoine Woods and Alan Hearns and things. We were looking at it and saying that we're better off spreading that money around, because Dez Bryant hasn't been able to stay healthy and has not made that big of an impact for $16 million. So what is the biggest bang for a buck that I can get for that $16 million? And that's the same thing if you were to bring in a Le'Veon Bell or an Antonio Brown. What else could I do with that other money? And that's the game you play. But I believe you can go through and do Earl Thomas, where basically you have a very incentive-laden contract. You believe that he wants to be there. And make no mistake, there's a lot of players that will go just for the money. And when you're young and haven't made that much money, you go for just the money. But I think at this point in his career, with him being able to go hopefully to his home state, be close to home with his family and everything else, and stability with the team that you look at and say on paper, they got an opportunity to go ahead and go to the Super Bowl. I've heard some rumors that Green Bay might be making a move for him. Of course, everything is conjecture right now, because everybody's just trying to get material out there. But you look at Green Bay, which is a team that just fired their coach, who has a lot of rebuilding to do. You don't look at Green Bay and say, that's a team that's going to challenge for a Super Bowl next year or the year after. They're basically starting over. You look at a New York Giants team that literally needs to just blow it up, and just start all over. You look at a New York Jets. So there's some places you're just going to scratch off the list and say, yeah, they might pay me more money, but by the time my career's done, I'm not getting that opportunity for a ring. So you look at a Dallas Cowboys team and say, okay, they got a quarterback, at least in my mind. Some people disagree. They got a franchise running back, a guy who is literally won 2 out of 3 rushing titles, would have probably won the 3rd had he been able to play the whole season. You look at the defense that's there and say, you know what, I got some horses that are in front of me. This is not a bad situation. Now, that's not to say that if the Cowboys said, we're going to pay you $2 million to come here, Earl, he's going to be like, read between the lines, guys. Read between the lines. But I think the Cowboys can make a deal. And here's the thing that they can do that I hope we don't make the same mistake. With Dak Prescott, you get all the talking heads out there that'll tell you that the wise thing to do is to make Dak wait. There's no rush to hurry up and pay that guy because, he's young. He's got to prove stuff. Okay, well, hold up right here. Understand, quarterback compensation has never gone down, even during a recession. And basically, I appreciate it, Sheila. Yeah, I finally got it cut. It's gone. I kind of miss it. Although my head feels lighter. It's just, the weight's just off my shoulders. But understand that quarterback pay, it goes by groups. And see, right now, we're looking at this group right now. And, of course, everybody's saying, well, all these guys didn't win shit, so you don't pay a quarterback. And, of course, they'll tell you, oh, well, Tom Brady, he doesn't get any money. Well, he's a $27 million cap hit. What they do is they keep restructuring him and just kind of kicking the money back through. And that's one of those tools that you have out there that we can actually do. Don't be fooled by what people tell you that we can't afford people, okay? Don't be fooled by that. The Cowboys can sign Dak. They can sign DeMarcus Lawrence. They can sign Byron Jones. They can sign Zeke Elliott. They can sign Amari Cooper. And they can get Earl Thomas. It's just a matter of working the numbers. Okay? You go ahead and sign Amari Cooper to a long-term deal. Right now, I guarantee you should save at least $4 million off this year's cap. And had they been smart last year and signed DeMarcus Lawrence last year, think about this. If you'd signed him to a long-term deal before Aaron Donald and before Khalil Mack, you probably could have gotten him for $17, $18 million a year on a long-term deal. You would have saved about $3 or $4 million a year down the road just from that deal, because the market went up, and then he's going to get a bigger deal. So guess what? Then the next elite pass rusher, his deal's going to go. They continue to rise. And so that's where you are with Dak Prescott. Take a note from that. You may not believe he's worth $100 and $125 million, but guess what? 3 years from now, that's going to be a bargain, because Jared Goff's going to be up for a contract renewal. Carson Wentz is going to be up for one. And Russell Wilson, who right now is getting chump change at $21.9 million, he's going to get paid. Now, you heard, I'm trying to remember who it was, trying to say that, his wife's going to want him to go to New York. I don't think he's going to want to go to New York. But regardless of that, he's going to get paid big time. And once his number goes up, and once you start getting, Drew Brees again, and you start getting Wentz and Goff, the ceiling's raising up. You're better off locking Dak in here at these dollars instead of tomorrow's dollars. You can disagree with me if you want, but I'm telling you, I know a little more than you guys give me credit for. 3 years, quarterbacks making. There you go, Justin. That's what I'm saying. And again, using DeMarcus Lawrence, we could have signed him. And here's the crazy thing about it. Had we signed him to a deal last year, we would have actually rolled more money into this year's cap. Swaggy D, how is 5 years, $100 million? That's $20 million a year. How is that fair? How is that fair when you got all these guys? Basically, Ryan Tannehill's making $19 million, 19.2. He's about to be cut. So you're saying Dak, who's been to the playoffs twice out of 3 years, rookie of the year and stuff, who stays healthy, you're saying that should get paid like Ryan Tannehill? Sam Bradford got $20 million to go to Arizona and played one game last year. So you're saying that's what he should make too? You look at these guys. I mean, I'm just putting it out there. Look. Derek Carr got $125 million. So he should make less than Derek Carr. Matthew Stafford, what does he want? He's got $135 million. What has Matthew Stafford done? Anything? Jimmy Garoppolo, $137 million. What has he done? He hasn't even thrown for 3,000 yards yet.
No.
Kirk Cousins, who's getting $28 a year. So you're saying Dak Prescott should work for $8 million a year less than Kirk Cousins, a guy who has never beat Dak Prescott. Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying? Does that sound right? How would you like to, on your job, I don't know what you do, but on your job, you're busting ass, but you're making $20 an hour, and the guy who is crap next to you is making $28. Jay Smooth, you ain't even realistic. You would give $10 million a year. Yeah, and you get laughed at. Oh, let's go down to the $10 million a year range. Let's see. Josh McCown, $10 million a year. Backup quarterback. Come on, man. Come on. Let's be realistic. What has Dak done in the playoffs? Against Green Bay, he threw 3 touchdown passes and 304 yards, more than Tony Romo ever threw in a single playoff game. He beat Seattle. I'll give you that much. How about that? And he's only been playing for 3 years. Meniscus Cowboy, that's more realistic. I think 25, 26 is about the range that you're going to get him. That's just me. What's up, Brian? Philly Bird Gang. Dak is trash. Yeah, well, how many playoff games has Carson Wentz played in again? How many? How many, Philly? I'll wait. Jimmy is injured. Okay. Well, Swaggy D, how is it you think that the Dallas Cowboys are going to reset the market? How do you think that's going to happen? And when, let me go through. I'm sorry, I didn't slipped it up. And so when you start getting all the other guys that are going to go ahead and bump up the market, so when Phillip Rivers gets another contract here, when his number goes through the roof, because see, that's where it's going. You got to understand, this is just the last group, so that's why you're seeing all of the 125 to 134. That's that class. Then all of a sudden you're going to have the next class that's going to be going through where you got Dak, you got Russell Wilson, you got Pat Mahomes and all these guys. This money right here in 3 years is going to seem like chump change. It may be that the market is overpaid, but the reality is it's what the market is. I'll give you an example, because it's just business. Here's what's crazy, because this hurts my bottom line. When Trump put the tariffs on the Chinese stuff, the Chinese plywood was like, the pre-finished maple was like $35 a sheet. It was garbage, but it was cheaper to buy. The American-made one, it's like $50 a sheet. I bought that because it was better quality and it didn't shred, and it made my job easier. So they put the tariffs on to help the American business because the American price is up here. The Chinese are selling crap that was cheap. So the tariffs brought it up to $48 a sheet. But guess what happened? When the bottom raised up, the Americans said, well, they're selling that for $48. We can raise our price to $65. It didn't cost them any more to make the product. It still cost them the exact same amount to make it, but we're going to sell it for an additional $15 because that's what the market will bear. That's the going rate. And I look at it and say, you know what? That's too expensive. But it doesn't mean a jack crap because that's what it's going to cost. And if you think you're going to get a quarterback that's going to be any good to start in the NFL that is not a rookie drafted at $10 million, you will not. There's a handful of guys who can play and start in the NFL and win you games. This crap of thinking that, we can just go ahead and draft the quarterback. You know how many teams have reached up to try and get a franchise quarterback, taking multiple picks like RG3 where it was 3 number ones and a second to have it blow up in their face? You get guys like Jamarcus Russell and Vince Young and things like that. Quarterback is a premium. There's very few of them. And you can play the game if you want to and say, you know what? We're not going to pay the guy because he's already been a bargain. You've invested $3 million in your quarterback over the last 3 years. $3 million. Second string guys are making more than what Dak Prescott's been making the last 3 years. Second string guys. He's already paid dividends. It's time to bite the bullet and take care of that guy. Because that guy takes all the shit from all you guys out there. He takes all the shit from the talking heads out there, from Jabba the Hutt to Rob Parker and all these idiots. He takes the hits from the other teams. And you know what? He pops right back up and keeps coming back for more. And the only thing he worries about is making sure they win on Sunday. Tough to develop a quarterback, shell shock. Oh man, Montana, you're speaking my language, man. I want you said it exactly. A fat nose tackle to help the linebackers. To me, there's two plays on the defense I want to see major improvements. And that is, of course, the big fat guy in the middle. Nothing against Antoine Woods, and nothing against Malik Collins, but I want to get another guy who is a fire hydrant to go in the middle to stuff the center and the guards and keep our linebackers clean. You get that guy, man, our defense will be tough as can be, because you look at what the Colts were able to do. You look at what the Rams ended up doing. Basically, is because they just ran right up the middle, and our guys just weren't big enough to drop the anchor and stop him, slow him down. How many NFC titles has Wentz won since he was rookie year compared to Dak? I'll wait. Amen, New York NFC Cowboys fan. Dak is tough, though. All quiet here in Big D. You know what? This is different, Jackie. Think about past years where we usually have all kinds of drama. Last year it was Dez, should he stay or should he go, and all that drama. Before we had DeMarco Murray, we had Tony Romo, who would be injured or he's going to retire. C.J. Anderson, that's an interesting one. I had not heard that one until today. Oh, I don't know if Mike Mosh is in the house. Mike Mosh sent me this. We're going to check this out. I've seen pictures of this online. Mike Mosh sells jerseys. I've actually been getting jerseys from him since probably about 2010, 2011. And he's gotten this one made up for the 19th season. Now, I got to tell you, here's what I do. Every year, I get a jersey done for Joe Boo, okay? And I always put the year on it, all right? So 2017, people were thinking when they would see me wearing the jersey 17 that it was for Jason Garrett. No, it was not for Jason Garrett. It was for Cowboy Joe Boo. So here we have, for the 19th season, Cowboy Joe Boo. This was last year's. Boom. So we're going to have to get another hanger. Retire that one. So Mox, thank you very much, my man. Bam. I might wear it on Sunday over to the our live stream that we're going to do at Lucky's. So we have to see about Ron and the new crew Denver coaching staff. Okay. Amari Cooper. Okay, now, Amari Cooper. What a difference a guy makes. You know, when you hear people like Rod Parker talk about the Dallas Cowboys and Dak Prescott and how pathetic it was. Okay, I'll be honest. I thought for sure that the concept of having multiple wide receivers was going to work. I tried to go ahead and say, you know what? Dak is good at finding a guy open. If you get that many guys out there, maybe it'll work. It didn't work. You got to have a guy who can get separation. You got to have a guy who can catch the ball in traffic. And Amari Cooper ended up being the difference maker on the offense. Had we not made that move, I don't know where that season would have ended. Maybe it would have ended with Jason Garrett. Maybe it would have ended with Jason Garrett fired. But we weren't going anywhere with the group of guys that we had. So bringing him in there was well worth that number one pick. He's 24 years of age, young enough that he's got plenty of shelf life left in him. And sorry about that. Sorry about what, Jay? So I'm happy about that. I wish we ended up having, you know, a first-round draft pick. Will be there at the draft and stuff, so we won't have anything going until the second day. But we did pick up a fourth-round draft pick, and that's where I was talking about earlier today. I didn't know they were coming out today with the compensatory picks, and I'm wondering if they rushed that on through to kind of sweep the whole Robert Kraft thing out of the way. Gives us something else to talk about. So we ended up picking up a fourth-round pick because of losing, Anthony Hitchens. I'm getting old and forgetful. Nathan Peterman. All right. Antonio Brown to the Packers. That would be interesting. Can you see? Ooh, talk about two divas against each other. Aaron Rodgers and Antonio Brown. Man, that's like a powder keg right there. But we get that fourth round compensatory pick. And a lot of people say big deal, fourth round pick. But remember, it was DeMarco Murray's compensatory pick that ended up getting Dak Prescott. So I know some of you guys will say, well, it's a wasted pick, because I know that's the way some of you are. But you got a franchise quarterback basically because DeMarco Murray left. So that gives us two at 136 and I think 139. They're real close together. So that'll give us a little flexibility to get some more depth on the field. And who knows, the Cowboys, you never know. Jerry might try a move up into the draft if there's somebody big, because I think, I don't know this for sure, but I think that the Dallas Cowboys have a sense of urgency to try and win the Super Bowl. This is my gut feeling. I think that they're going to kind of go all in on this season and look at it as, let's try and win this year or the next year. And I believe that they're going to really try and make a play for Earl Thomas, because I think that he would be the difference maker for the defense. Yeah, Justin, you're 100% right. We do owe the playoff wins in NFL history, but we need to start reloading and adding a few more to that. We need to start getting back to winning Super Bowls. Redskins 24/7. Oh my God. Redskin. We actually have a Red. But let me give you. You know what? For a Redskin fan to come out and come on the stream, man, I appreciate that, man, because it's been hard to find Redskin fans, and I live here outside Washington D.C. How you doing, man? I think what your Redskins need to do is forget about trying to sign quarterbacks, because I know you'll go for one. You need to just try and draft one. You guys just need to tear the whole damn thing up and start all over. Lloyd, without a doubt, Amari Cooper is way better than anybody we would have gotten in the draft this year. And rookie wide receivers typically don't do really well right off the bat. Well, JK, hopefully, here's the thing. And that's hopefully what Kellen Moore, being young, you know, when you're young, you don't fear anything. And you take a lot more risks than when you're old. When you start getting to be like my age, I look around at things and say, you know what? That could kill me. When I was Michael's age, and I look back now at some of the things I did at his age, I'd be like, damn, were you crazy? So maybe Kellen Moore, being younger, seeing things that haven't worked, will end up coaching a little bit more risque, shall we say. And I think that we're going to end up seeing, forgive me, I got a bit of a cold. I think you're going to see Dak Prescott being turned loose a lot more. I think that the Cowboys, for the most part, have been trying to over-control Dak Prescott and limit risk. But I think that the Cowboys are going to start taking more and more risks. Redskins 24/7. How's it going? Yes, I agree. I want Kyler Murphy in the draft. Okay. Redskins 24/7. Do you do YouTube? Because I'm trying to find a Redskin YouTuber to become my junior Redskin reporter. You know, I got Philly 500 in here. He's my boy and everything else. With them, I got my man, the stinking New York Giants fan, and I need to be able to do a whole round table of the NFC East, and that would be kind of cool. Oh, I think the NFL, because here's the funny thing, because it was Graham Pedri. It was hot and heavy on the whole Robert Kraft, because it was even on like NBC News and everything else. So when the regular news starts covering, it's big news. But then all of a sudden, go look at Bleacher Report right now and look at how far down you have to go before you see anything about that. So they're trying to quiet that down, and with it coming out on a Friday, by Monday it will be definitely out of mind here. Gerald McCoy may ask for too much money. See, I don't. Here's the thing. I think we're okay with outside rushers. I mean, I would like to see. I wish David Irving had had a head on his shoulders, then we had him back as a player that wanted to play. But I think it's actually more important to get the big guy in the middle. And Gerald McCoy, I think, is definitely going to cost you too much. And the other thing I believe, too, is here's the thing. When you control the middle of the field, you control the field. And you look at safety, and don't get me wrong, Jeff Heath and Xavier Woods, they played good. But see, you need more than just good at safety. You need great. You need exceptional, because that truly is the final line of defense. And that safety, and you get a safety who can play balls to the wall, a guy who can get turnovers, and that's something we have not had, a safety who's a ball hawk in forever. You get that guy in there and educating those guys, and you get a big, nasty, evil, piss and blood guy in the middle of the defensive line. All of a sudden, DeMarcus Lawrence and Randy Gregory, and don't sleep on Randy Gregory. Randy Gregory, if he can continue to keep his head clean, he's going to be a beast next year. That all of a sudden will make that whole defense that much better. Sue is definitely fits the description, but Sue's getting a little bit up there in age, and Sue is a big, big pile of money. I mean, a big pile of money. Jackie, amen. Jeff Heap is definitely, that's the thing about Jeff Heap. Jeff Heap is better coming off the bench in rotation. He's not an every down guy to me. I love it. Jeff Heap. Collins is younger. True. Well, Jonathan Carr, here's the knock on Kellen Moore is, one, he's young, and I've knocked Kellen Moore. I'll be the first to say I knocked him, and I kept looking and saying, if I was a junior in high school and I beat out the senior and got his starting job, and then the next year he's my coach, I'd look at that and say, like, you weren't good enough to beat me out. What can you teach me? But a lot of people say, well, what did he teach Dak? Well, technically, Dak was playing poorly at the end of last season, and that continued into this season until we got Amari Cooper. But you could see Dak's numbers and Dak getting better and better and better. Most of his touchdown passes were all in the second half of the season. He did have that 445-yard game. He had another 390 game that was up in there and things like that. He had multiple touchdown games. The Eagle game, I know he fumbled the ball once or twice, but he also had 3 touchdowns and a game-winning drive in overtime. So you could kind of say he actually got better, even with Scott Linehan, as the season went on. But I think John Kitna, had more experience in being a quarterback, had more exposure and more time in there, that the mechanics, he may be better than Kellen Moore was. Understand, offensive coordinator is different than being a quarterback coach. Quarterback coach is going to be working on your footwork, your steps, your reads, and things like that. The offensive coordinator is going to be looking at more at down and distance and where do I get an advantage on which play. Skins fans all day is a Skins fan that would probably do videos with you. Well, I'll tell you what, make a comment on him and just tell him that there's an idiot Cowboy fan that's interested, and I'll try. Let me try and write that down. Skins fans all day. Skins fans all day. I'm a little bit out of it today because just before the show started, I started getting my love for woodworking and stuff from my dad. He had an old Shopsmith, which is like a 5 machine in one. It's a table saw, it's a drill press, it's a disc sander, it's a horizontal boring jig, and it's a wood lathe. And it was a Mark II, so this piece of equipment was built like in the 40s or so. And when I was young, I started working on cleaning that up because it was in the old chicken garage and covered with dust and things, and started woodworking when I was young. About 15 minutes before the show started, my mom called me and said that my dad was coming back from the hospital because he had slipped on the table saw and cut a couple of fingers and was at the hospital getting stitches. So forgive me if I'm a little bit out tonight because he's okay. looking slimmer. I was slimmer before, but I kind of got off the diet. Yeah, that's great, Victor. I'm glad that you're in the union. 46 an hour, man. That's great. I'd be okay with that. With Earl Thomas, 2 years, $20 million, with as long as it's an incentive-laden contract, on performance. Okay. I don't know that Landon Collins is going to be a steal in free agency. That's if they don't tag him. He's going to be I think he's going to cost you more than Earl Thomas. And here's the thing, sometimes getting things at the right time, it may be a good time to get Earl Thomas because of him having the injuries the last 2 years, being older, that his price tag is going to go down. Give you an example. Look at AB right now. AB, everybody thinks, oh my God, AB, get that guy. But when you start looking at it and saying, he's 31, he wants guaranteed money, he's a pain in the ass. So you start looking at this and saying, I don't know that he's worth a first-round draft pick. So now they're talking about a second or a third. So his value has gone down. And that may be the case, too, with Earl Thomas. Earl Thomas may not be getting, he's not going to be getting that highest paid safety in the NFL money that he was looking for last year. It's going to be, I think, a little bit more reasonable. But I could be okay with 2 years, $20 million, as long as it's incentive-laden. Vosh is in the house. I didn't see any comments from him. What's happening, Vosh? Oh, there is Vosh. Okay, so that's not Vosh, president of the 80%. That's the real McCoy. What's happening, man?
He has a picture. It has like a cartoon picture.
Yeah.
That's the real one.
But hold on. J-Rod, let me go back. Here's my whole analogy. When you go through the top wide receivers in the NFL, when you look at Julio Jones, you look at AB, you look at Odell Beckham, these guys that are getting big bank. I mean, big bank. What are they winning? How many rings are they getting? I'll wait. Wide receiver isn't the be-all, end-all that it used to be. And I dare say that tight end is almost as important now as it is wide receiver. Don't get me wrong, you need good wide receiver, really good wide receivers. But getting, a top-notch wide receiver, they're not winning the Super Bowls. They're not. It's a team sport. So you look at saying, do you pay that guy $18, $20 million and don't have the other pieces to go around them? It doesn't work. So you have to be strategic in how you spend your money. Now, Vosh will tell you we need to go out and draft, another offensive lineman. I'll dare say that I would rather actually see a beast defensive lineman first, because I think that ends up helping us to lead to more turnovers because you're putting more and more pressure on the quarterback. Okay? But it's a delicate balance. My mic's still low. Okay, let me turn it up a little bit more here. It's still a delicate balance on how you spend your money. You can only cover so many bases, and sometimes you just need to be lucky because one area you may end up saying, you know what, we're going to carry 7 offensive linemen, and you get lucky and they all stay healthy. Other times, all of a sudden, people just get hit over and over and over again. And so you have to understand where you can spend the money. And I know somebody saying, yeah, that's why you can't pay Dak. Okay, well, don't pay Dak and let him walk. Just don't have a quarterback. How about that? How about we just don't have a quarterback? Take a look at all the bums we've had that have come through here between Troy Aikman and Tony Romo. We got spoiled by having Romo and then leading up to Dak Prescott, because take a look at 2015. All you guys that say you don't need a quarterback, take a look at 2015 and get back to me. Because without Tony Romo, we won one game. And it wasn't like we were the Cleveland Browns. We had the best offensive line in football. We had the 4th-rated rushing attack in the NFL with Darren McFadden. But we won one game without Tony Romo. So all you guys that say, oh, Dak isn't doing jack, go back and look at 2015 and tell me what happened in that year. Because we didn't lose Tyron Smith for games. We didn't lose Travis Frederick for the season. We weren't bringing in Xavier Salafalos to play on the offensive line. The only difference between the 2015 team that went 4-12, where 3 of the games Tony Romo played in, and we won, was Dak Prescott and Zeke Elliott. And Zeke only picked up 390 more yards than what Darren McFadden did. Yet, we went from 4-12 to 13-3. And tell me that you can just put anybody in at quarterback. That being said, guys, it is already 10 o'clock, and I'm going to, let me put, I appreciate everybody being here. I'm going to put my quarterback up here.
But winners worry about winning, and losers worry about winners. So we're focused on ourselves in this locker room about what we need to do to get better each and every phase of this game and be ready for this week. We're not worried about he say, she say.
That's right. We're going to just continue to take care of business. We're going to worry about things we can control, and we're going to keep on keeping on. And as always, I want to thank everybody who's come in and joined, everybody who has been part of the channel. I appreciate it. Again, Miss Jackie, I'm going to check my email because you're one of the stops on the shirt. Sunday, we will be at Lucky Sports Bar on Manchester Boulevard in Kingstown, Virginia, 4 to 6 o'clock, doing a live stream, watching the AAF game, and talking about what else, the Dak Prescott thing. And from there, what we'll do is go ahead and check out the Facebook page. It's the Power of 4 on Facebook. Power of, and then the number 4. Don't write out 4, number 4. And we're going to be kind of sending the shirt around. It's going to be in Louisiana, it'll be in Dallas, it'll be in San Antonio, and probably in LA and some other stops. And hopefully people will get it signed real quick, and we'll overnight it to the next destination so we can get as many of you guys to sign as possible. As I have more and more updates and stuff on it, I would definitely post videos because, that's what I do. And with that being said, it is now time to turn off the lights.
The party's over. They say that all good things must end. Call it a night. The party's over. And tomorrow and next year starts the same old thing.